trying to get in the right button? All right. All righty. So this is good. All right. So really, this is y'all's time, to be honest. I wanted to get whoever was here together and really get feedback from you, to be honest. So I am your 39th Chief of Signal. That's my tagline. Other than we're building leaders, teammates, and communicators, I'm your 39th Chief of Signal. So I'm here to work for you, and if I'm not doing something, you got to tell me. Right? So what I don't want to have happen is 2 years from now, you guys go, well, that Chief of Signal never talked to us. So if I'm blowing up your inbox, I apologize. If you don't like it, hit auto-delete. But you're going to hear from me. You're going to hear from me. You're going to hear from my Sergeant Major. You're going to hear from my Regimental Chief Warrant Officer. We're trying to send out an email every week. There's been some gaps, but we're going to send out, we're calling it regimental news you can use. And if you've got feedback, please tell us. And don't be bashful. I got a bunch of deployed lieutenants and senior lieutenants, captains as part of an SFAB that are blowing me up. They are not bashful. They're crushing me right now. But my pledge to you is if you email me, I will answer you back and either put you in the right direction, give you an answer, or tell you I can't answer. So, yeah. So right now, I have a distro list for all 55,000 people in the Signal Corps, right? So I do not blast 55,000 people at once. I pick and choose based on the topic. So I'll sit down with the team, my deputy, my assistant, my director of OCOS, and go, okay, who's this note need to go to? Sir, this is 05s, 06s, and all the GOs. Boom, that's who it goes to. Sir, this is a note for captains and below. That's who it goes to. Hey, sir, send this note to the HRC folks. So I typically include on all my notes, I include my schoolhouse, the people who work for me, so they know what I'm sending. So when somebody asks me a question, they know why I'm telling them to answer this question. But I'm afraid to break the internet. So I'm afraid if I send it to 55,000 people, one, my email will quit working because not all those email addresses are correct. And so when I send one of these notes, I get about 150 bounce backs on average. So, yes. Compo 1 through 3 is the goal. So if you're not getting it, you need to tell me, right? And then I'll tell my staff to fix that. So when I say 55,000, that's the force, right? So if you're not on that list, you need to let me know. But yeah, so I'm very judicious about how they go out, Brett, because my little iPhone can only take so many emails at once, and when they blow back, I'm getting it everywhere. So, but if you're not getting it, please tell us because those distro lists are about as good as we are. Updating them, making sure we have good emails from you. So, but yeah, so that's so another part of kind of our outreach is everybody in here remember the Army Communicator magazine, right? So we're bringing it back, digital only. We're not going to print a bunch of books, but Matt Falk and his crew are bringing it back. Signal.army.mil, Army Communicator, and if you think you've got something worthy of that, telling the force, let us know. Send it to Matt Falk and his team, and we'll clean it up and put it in the magazine, and we'll publish it, right? We'll give you credit. We're going to put your name on it, and we'll put your email and your phone number so they ask you the questions.
And it won't have the same parameters, the less than 2,000 words. It could be, because it's going to be digital, it can be whatever it's going to be. Pictures go well with it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it's going to be out there. But if you were just downstairs in the engagement theater, so I give you kind of what I call the rocks on the top of my rucksack right now, right? So 25 Delta was a rock on the top of my rucksack. I signed the action last week. Is that true? Last week? Last week. So 491 slots across all three compos, 1, 2, and 3. That will be recoded, converted back, so that 25 Bravos with an ASI will pick up the ComSec mission, and 25 Deltas will go back to being cybersecurity network defenders, what we hired them to do. That's what they're going to do in life. So that's one rock. The other rock is MOS Convergence. So right now, phase 1 is complete, or administratively it's complete, or it's in the wickets, it's signed. It's going through the TRADOC process, and that'll take 17 MOSs down to 13. We are working on phase 2, which will take 13, somewhere around 8, 9, or 10. And as we get that done, at least the staff work done, we're going to push it out to the force because we want feedback, because there's a couple MOSs we think can converge, but we want to hear from Compo 2 and 3 specifically on one of those MOSs. And then we want to hear from the force in total on one of the other ones. But that's another big rock. Foundational training, Colonel Trish Sales and the school are running foundational training. So right now what happens is if you're a Uniform Bravo or Papa, did I get those right? Those 3 are the start. Uniform Bravo or Papa, when you come into Gordon, you're going into 4 weeks of IP foundational training. So we're going to level set you. The next 3 that are coming online are November, Quebec, and Sierra. So if you're one of those 6 MOSs, you come to Fort Gordon, your first 4 weeks here are going to be spent learning, and don't laugh when I say this, right? Desktops, laptops, how to take them apart, what each component is, and that might sound strange, but most of these computers think that Android or that iPhone in their pocket that's the computer they know, right? So we are actually teaching them how to break apart a computer, put it back together. We're teaching them subnetting. We're teaching it both hands-on and virtually, so simulation. And their integrated learning event at the end of 4 weeks is they have to put an entire, I'm going to get this wrong, 32 computers, 16 routers and switches, including Wi-Fi and printers, together and make it all talk to each other. Now, we got guidance from the TRADOC commander last week, and he said, okay, when they're done doing that, take them to the woods and make them do it in the dark. So that's happening. We're going to do that. So no. And let me. I'm going to caveat that here in a sec. So they do not. So we are getting vouchers, and we will start testing the top probably 5% of the students. But the CIO, G6 of the Army, General Crawford, helped us out, right? So he just changed the policy. A level 10 no longer requires Sec Plus or Net Plus to be on the network, an Army network, right? So that is for uniforms, Bravos, and Papas, I think, right now to start. And we're going to capture the other 3 of those 6 MOSs as we move in the future. They do. So that's where I need everybody in this room's help, because the problem we have, I'll get to you in a sec, the problem we have right now is I got 20 and 30 level folks that are standing over 10 level folks telling them they need a Sec Plus and Net Plus, and none of them are Sec Plus and Net Plus. So it's hard to enforce the standards when you're not there either. So I've told this to every group I've talked to in 6 weeks. I said, we're going to solve the 10 level, or at least try to. 20 and 30 levels on the force. If they're out there, you got to get them in the training, which will bring me to one of the rocks in my rucksack, which is Signal Universities. But we'll chat about that here in a sec. But I need your help. I need the force's help to 20s and 30 levels. They've got to have the Sec Plus and Net Plus. So foundational training, MOS Convergence. 25 Delta, we're having a very rich discussion about the future of 26s. Alphas and Bravos. Matt Hicks is sitting in the room. He's been leading that charge for me, and I've gotten in front. It's in front of General Morrison right now. The goal is to get in front of General Crawford coming up. But what we believe is the way ahead for 26s. We believe they have a future based on the change in technology. So those are the 4 big ones right now, and there's a whole slew of other stuff. To include stuff like Signal Universities I'm getting after. I'm gonna get to you. I saw your hand. Question.
So Sec Plus, we're getting a lot of pushback when I tell my brigade 25 Bravos to get the Sec Plus since it's not part of my MOS, it's not required for my MOS. And I think there's not clear guidance from up. Now, unless they're going to touch the network, they shouldn't even bother with that. The problem is they move to another unit. Happens Compo 3. They move to another unit, and all of a sudden, or they go ADR, and all of a sudden they are actively depend on it, and they don't have a certain.
So we'll relook that, because I believe it is part of their MOS. So we'll relook that. And what I would tell you is, I don't care if you're 1, 2, or 3. The way we're changing what we're doing, signal end to end in the Army, you're gonna be expected to touch the network, right? It's coming, right? So as we change out ESBs and make them ESB enhanced, you're going to have to be on the network more often. So, yeah, we'll take a look at that though. But yeah, it's not that they don't. I would tell you they're going to need it. It's not a requirement when they hit the force as a 10 level right now. So General Crawford helped us out in that regard, and we're going to still reward the folks here at Gordon because we are getting help from the Army G6 for vouchers. So we are going to reward those folks. We're also, practice what you preach. We're also getting instructors here at Fort Gordon, Net Plus and Sec Plus, so that, they can actually oversee that stuff. And then we are throwing some of those vouchers towards the NCO side of the house and the warrant officer side of the house, and not a lot of them, but we are throwing vouchers that way as well. Yeah. The 25 golf is dead. So if you didn't get that memo, let us know. So it'll catch itself. So what you got to understand is TRADOC is, that's about a 3-year process, right? So anything that has to do with an MTO is about a 3-year process. So the golf is done though, right? So there is no 25 Zulu because we don't have an alpha in a golf. There is only a 25 alpha, right? That's who we are. 26s are different. We have 26 alphas. We have 26 Bravos. When you become an 06, you become a 26 Zulu. So we can discern, right? But the golf is done. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. There you go.
It's the same for warrant officers as well.
Yep. So. So I've got plants in the room, so as you ask questions, if I don't answer them, there are plants in the room that will answer them for you. So that guy right there, Ron Frame, is your POC, and he can get you the information you need. Yeah, sit.
Real quick, with the policy on the E4 and below, that's great. How is that going to impact 8140, or better known as DOTI 857001M, with the training requirements based on the level of certification you're supposed to hold to have certain permissions at a certain level? And also, will that integrate, and is this policy going to filter into ATCTS and then come across that synchronized mesh?
Yeah, so what I'll tell you up front is General Crawford's been working this with the Joint Staff J6 and the DOD CIO. So, it's one thing to say you don't need it as long as you're only on an Army network, but some of these folks are going to touch other things. So he's working that piece right now. And we're going to play, now that we have the memorandum, we're playing catch-up inside the schoolhouse to make sure all that administrative stuff catches itself. But, yeah, so I think all the tiers and all that's going to stay the same. What's changing for us is you're an Army, you come out of Gordon as an E4 or below, and when you get to your unit, you can actually work, right? It's not that you can't touch the network at this point. You can actually go to work. Go ahead, Matt.
Really, it's just an updated version of the one General Lawrence signed years ago. It's the same,
Yep.
essentially the same.
And what the difference being is he's walking it right across the Pentagon to the Joint Staff J6. It's Lieutenant General Schwedo, Air Force guy. They're having the conversation, and they're having the conversation with Dr. DZ, the new DOD CIO. So.
Where that comes as a concern is not necessarily certifications, but when we start looking at the CCRI inspections.
Yeah. So that's a whole other conversation we can have about CCRIs and RMF and DICAP. General Morrison didn't give me the mic earlier because he knew I would probably get fired in there. So, Brian, you had something.
I was just going to say the higher percentage of those level 10s that you perform will have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. About 5% is what we're looking at right now. So, yes. I'll get to you in a sec. Yeah, so.
Especially, I'm a reservist.
Okay.
Reservist, and we're fighting with newer policy of TS.
Yeah.
Clearances.
Yeah. So.
Getting our reservists through.
So it's a problem DoD wide. And Matt's actually got the most current stats, I think. So 300,000 is the backlog, right? 300,000. And so here's what's happening. So just from a signal, I put on my, Chief of Signal Commandant hat, So what you got is, inside the Signal Corps, what you got is, you come here as an E6 to do 25 Delta. You leave here. You're not awarded the MOS until your TS is final, right? So you go back to your unit. You can perform tasks, but you're not a Delta until your TS is final. So that's one piece of the clearance problem we're working through. The other one is with the fielding of McNay, the 25 November clearance is going to become, I don't want to say an issue, but it's going to have to be paid attention to. So right now, if you're a 25 November and McNay is in your formation, the requirement for you to operate that, you or your 255 November, is a TS and a poly. Lifestyle poly. No, CI poly. The easier one, CI poly, right? Why? Because the requirement for McNay is we will pass NSA net through that. And so because we will pass NSA net through it, you will require a poly, right? So last count, and my folks in the audience will keep me straight, there's about 813 slots in the Army, and I don't think, is that Compo 1, 2, 3, Will?
It is, but now it's about 500 because we're not going to field my name to the ESP.
There you go. So look at that. We just helped ourselves, right? We went from 813 down to 500 and something. But that's Compo 1, 2, and 3. That will get McNay. And so what I'm telling you right now is if you're on a patch chart to get fielded McNay, you're going to, 4 months out from NetNef, you're going to have what's called an NMIB. At that, they will look everybody in the audience in the face and say, hey, the requirement is a TS and a poly. That is your signal to say, everybody who's a 25 November, show me your paperwork for TS and poly. You have to start that process, right? You do not have to have a TS to field it. Now, I would tell you, ForceCom G6 and I are in a conversation right now because our belief is to truly do a really good NetNef, you really should pass live traffic over it. And to pass live traffic over it, you're going to have a TS and a poly if we add NSA net, right? So if it's just the JWIX piece, all you got to do is have a TS, right? So that's the discussion we're having between myself and the ForceCom G6 right now. So, but that, from a signal perspective, we're concerned with that piece of the clearance issue right now. So if you have something outside of that, we just need to be aware if you're struggling with other things. But we know those are alive and well right now from a clearance perspective. But it's a holistic DoD problem.
So who's bringing this up a level to say there's 300 backlog, somebody at a higher level?
So I will speak to you from an Army perspective. The Army G2, very well aware of this problem set, right? The Central Clearance Facility, very well aware of the problem set. Now they're trying to figure out how to solve that problem set. They're no stone unturned, to be honest. They're looking at ways they can hire in folks to do background checks and everything else to get rid of that backlog. But there was a question back here. So, Will, clearance is for everybody. So lieutenants coming in from here on out, warrants coming in from here on out, we'll all get them. Not the enlisted side yet.
The only one that requires a TS is 25.
Yep.
So 26 Alphas and Bravos no longer require it?
They do require it.
But they're not changing over until they're active.
But most of those folks aren't changing over till their senior 02 is we opened a window up for, and 03.
I can assume it's a 26 Bravo above the captain. I'm going to be required to get a top score.
Yes, you will. You absolutely will. So they're trying to figure that out, and it's not a small bill. So what I would tell you is, yeah. So I would tell you this is not, so just for that number 800, which is now 500, just for that number 800, it was a $3.4 million bill to get those 800 folks TSs. Right? So FORCECOM and the Army are trying to figure this problem set out. And I'm trying as the Chief of Signal to help them, to be honest. Right now, we have no intentions of changing anything inside the proponent for 25 Novembers. They will come into AIT with a secret or get their secret as they leave. If they go the force, that's when they will get their TS and poly if they're going to operate McNay. Because right now, it's about 14% of their job description requires a TS, right? Did I get that right?
14% of the total requirements for 25 November.
Yeah. And so we don't look to change anything when it comes to clearance inside the schoolhouse until it's 50% or more of their job requires it. Does that make sense? So
So, sir, so on the TS piece, if your paperwork is submitted,
is this mine?
your clearance can be given at the local level.
Yep.
You can be given an interim top secret clearance at the local level. Poly's a different story, but from the TS side,
Yeah.
you can grant that.
Doesn't that interim only last for 6 months to a year?
If they can keep on doing it,
They can-
until they come and get you.
The two folks can do that ad nauseum, right? I mean, it's in their best interest to get you cleared so they don't have to do that paperwork every 6 months, 12 months. So that's kind of what I wanted to throw out there, and then really just keep the questions coming. This is your time. And like I said, I've got plants in the audience. If you throw something at me I can't answer.
Sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon. How you doing?
You mentioned Signal University, but now they fall under responsibility of CIO.
Oh, not anymore. Great question. So they already have transitioned. So CCOE, Cyber Center of Excellence, Major General John Morrison owns the Signal Universities, 12 post camps and stations, and one to be built in Korea, right? So he owns them now, and as of right now, it's conditions-based, so things could change. As of right now, about 15, 16 November, I will own them, right?
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
So I'm at CCOM. So this transition does not alleviate you FSRs or laws
Nope.
to provide ad hoc sustainment
That's right.
training. So that is the LARs and FSRs are still responsible
That's
for
right.
providing that. The institutional training, which
Yep.
he's referring to, it is transitioning out of the CCOM role and into
No. That's a great point. So from a sustainment FSR piece, CCOM still owns that side of the house. From what we teach cyber, and I said cyber and signal, because we don't just teach signal at these places anymore, I will own as of November. We will not be calling them signal universities in the future. I heard, I got guidance from my senior rater that there's only one university in the Army. It's the Army University. So we're changing their name. If you've got a cool code name, let us know. We're having a contest. But it's coming, and really our intent is we're going to level set everything, right? So there will be a baseline minimum standard for every course taught. Every course taught will be put in a course catalog, and everybody can grab that course, right? So if we teach HF at Bragg, but we don't teach it at Riley for some reason, Riley can go out to the course catalog, bring it down, and teach it. They can ask for help from Bragg. So we're going to level set everything. Listen to me, I am not taking the flexibility of the local commander. I heard that loud and clear from my boss, right? But there will be a minimum standard. And that standard will be set by the schoolhouse, right? Because it now falls underneath TRADOC. Now, what I would tell you is you don't want me to own it, because then you fall in that TRADOC process, right? So subtle things like the difference between a POI and a training support plan, right? If you call it a POI locally, you now have to follow my process. It will be 3 years, right? If you call it a training support plan or a lesson plan, it's good. We're here to provide a baseline set of standards, provide rigor, and then really provide top cover, right, from a signal cyber training perspective. So that's the going in position. The goal is not to take the flexibility of the 82nd Airborne Division Commander or Fort Hood and Phantom University or Thunderbird University. It used to be called at Huachuca. No, but we're not going to call them universities. I got a 3-star telling me we're not calling them universities. So if you got a cool code name, let us know. But that's what's changing. We're not going to take the flexibility of the local commander. Does that make sense? Is that what you're concerned about?
The ability to adapt and provide instruction and training on new equipment that's out there, I prefer the way CCOM has done it in the past. But,
So I'm not going to break anything they've set up. That's the goal.
You'll understand that at the signal school, we actually take the net, we build it into our POIs of all the new equipment that comes out, and that's what we teach our signal soldiers too.
So it's not lost on me, though, Ann. I got it. So here's what I'll tell you. Little known fact. We put as many soldiers a year through the 12 signal universities as I put through Fort Gordon. Right? So I trained 12,000 soldiers a year, roughly, through Fort Gordon. And last year, last count, 11,758 people went through Signal University at some post-camping station. So I'm not here to break anything. The guidance I've been given by my bosses, is you're going to set a minimum standard, and you're going to provide oversight. So, and it will match what we do in the schoolhouse. So if we're teaching something in the schoolhouse, it should look the same when they get to their post-camping station, and 2 years later they need a refresh. It shouldn't look any different than what they got at Fort Gordon. And right now it does. And it depends on where you go. So, but the goal is not to break anything. So, and if as of right now, if it breaks, you can call the G357 because they own it at the CCOE. As of 16 November, if we break something, you need to call us and tell us because that's not the intent whatsoever. All right? What else? My time is your time. Yeah.
Sir, Bob Topper, 75th Marine Regiment. Sir, having a lot of trouble recruiting lieutenants coming out of Bullet to come to Marine Regiment or other units because they don't have regular academy. We're really looking at branch detailed guys, bring them in, training them signal. It's not helping us move the network forward. How can we help get some Bullet kids to Marine Regiment?
Okay, so can I flip the question on you as a former USOC G6? All right. So how can you help me make it so they don't have to have it right up front? Right? So, and I say this as a former USOC G6, I had a lot of people that wanted to go to the Ranger Regiment and were willing to go to Ranger School. But timing was timing. So tell me how you hire people right out of BOLIC, put them in a battalion, let them be leaders, teammates, communicators, and then get them off to Ranger School. And I'll meet you halfway. At least I'll try to. But it's not an all-or-nothing proposition for me, right? Haven't lived it.
And the question really is not so much for the lieutenants, it's how do I find my replacement?
So you, yep, no.
Go as a signal officer,
Yep.
most of them are very detailed guys, and there's a small amount of signal rangers
Yep.
in the community to recruit from, and timing is
So when are you leaving? Okay.
so right next summer
Okay.
is when I probably leave. But it's really holistically, there's guys who want to go to Ranger School out of OBC. Not that I want them, that they could go to 82nd. How do we help those kids get to go to Ranger School?
Okay. And we're gonna take a note, but you need to help me too, right? Yeah. It's a conversation I used to have with Randy every day he was there, right? Just call him up and ask him. Yeah.
To echo what you just said, I served in Division Brigade, Battalion, at multiple levels. To Echo's point, it works both ways. Your community's got to push the work fire.
Yep.
Because the Ranger type is not a requirement for signal
Yeah.
officers to perform his or her job. And you got to convince them. And I know it's hard, but it is an ownership responsibility at the 04, 03 level. Those are
Yeah.
lucky enough to be in those assignments.
And I would tell you it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you don't want them not to have the tab.
It is a requirement.
Right.
They're going to go out and target. You're going to have a Marine tab. And our lieutenants have the option to go out and target. So, but I argue that 82nd needs them just as bad as I need them, so does 173rd, to compete with their peers that they're being rated against. And 82nd, every company commander is a Ranger tab.
Yeah, so
Competing against them for top dogs. Could it be helpful?
so I would tell you, I don't know, that's a conversation you want to have with me, right? I'm just being honest. So I stand here, no tab. I got 10 years in SOF. I got 4 years in the 82nd, commanding a battalion in the 82nd, and I stand here as a general officer of the United States Army, right? And I got to tell you, I don't know. I tell you, I'll trade you today, no tab necessary. I'll go be the 75th Ranger Regiment S6, and I bet you I can do that job. I've been a 6 from battalion to 4-star. And no piece of cloth ever helped me get there, right? So I'm building leaders, teammates, and communicators. So I'm willing to meet you halfway. And you know what? My invitation is out to your boss, right? I sent him a note. I want him to come talk to young lieutenants. But he's got to understand what my mindset is, right? I want leaders to go to the force, and I want them to be leaders, lieutenants to be leaders, teammates, and communicators. I had a discussion with a bunch of lieutenants the other day, right? Sir, you got to be technically smart. And I keep telling them, no, you don't. You got to know how to take care of soldiers. That's being a leader, right? You got to be a teammate, so when the 4 needs your help, and you're the battalion S6, and the 4 needs help, you're helping them. You're not standing off on the side of the TOC looking at subnets, right? Because once you're those two, every NCO and warrant officer around you in a formation is going to make you a communicator, right? I'm telling you, I've been living that for 27 years. I'm looking at Brett Reister, and he can challenge me if he wants. I mean, he and I have walked the same path. And I tell you what, I'm willing to meet you halfway. This is one for me. I'm like, look, I want to put the best and the brightest inside the Ranger Regiment, but I want to put them there, and then you make them Rangers, right? I'm going to send you leaders and teammates. You're going to make them a Ranger and a communicator, right? That's my mantra, right? That's my pledge to you, and I'm willing to meet you halfway. I will sit with the team, and we will figure out how I'll talk to Brito and Hodney and all those folks down at Benning and figure out how I get kids into Ranger School. But you got to be willing to meet me halfway, right? And I don't say, I tell you like an old boss used to tell me, don't mistake my passion for anger. I'm not angry. I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate that there are people out there that can do that job, and it has nothing to do with that Ranger tab. And I tell you, I got a lot of good friends that are Rangers. A lot of good friends. I'm looking at one, right? Marcus Evans is a good friend of mine, right? You know, there's a lot of good, Joe Tregegas, right? A lot of good friends of mine. Yeah. They are. But yeah. And it used to be like that. We used to have a ton of slots, and then it kind of died off. But I'll take it on. And we'll figure out. And maybe we get them out of here to Ranger School, and they go to the 82nd, then come to you. I don't know, but yeah.
So I'm not, talking from big Army perspective too, because I got to go as a captain to Ranger School. So it's just an opportunity for guys to go.
Yeah.
Guys and females to go. So
All right.
and then we do find ourselves recruiting now 82nd a lot.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
And I would tell you, come here. I've told everybody on the soft side, feel free to come to Fort Gordon and recruit. And I know there's a danger in that, right? Like I said, I spent 10 years in the community, so I know there's a danger in that. But I'm never going to shut my doors on you. I don't care if it's JCSE, JCU, CAG, 75th, whoever it might be, come here and recruit. My door's always open, right? Tell me when you're coming. I'll pack an auditorium for you. I'll give you officers, enlisted, warrant officers. You just tell me, So, all right. Once again, don't mistake my passion for anger. But I'm ready to put solid folks in the force that can relate to warfighters. Right? That's what it's about. It's about that young signal officer being able to have a conversation with that Ranger Regimental Commander or that BCP commander, and it doesn't sound like a dolphin's talking to him, right? Yeah.
Sir, since you've taken the helm, I appreciate the information that you're sending out to the field, and I know it sounds like you're going to continue to do that with your staff. And that's great to kind of that level sets the goals and sets expectations across the community for Signal Regiment. What can we do for you? What do you want the feedback? What do you want from us? How can we help steer the rudder of this ship moving forward? What do you want? What are you looking for?
I'll take anything. So I tell you, we were joking about it a week ago. So I was you 6 weeks ago. I was a customer of the Signal Regiment 6 weeks ago, and I tell you what, I was frustrated, right? So I'll take anything you got, to be honest. Tell me where we're missing the mark with young soldiers training. Tell me where we're missing the mark with lieutenants. Tell me where we're missing the mark coming out of Captain's Career Course. That's what I'm expecting back from you guys, right? Or better yet, hey sir, I just got this new piece of kit. How do we train it better? Are you training it at Gordon already? Can we come talk to your folks, right? That's the stuff I'm looking for, And no offense, what I want is I want your BCT commanders to come see my folks, right? I love every one of you as part of the regiment, but when a signal officer talks to other signal officers, it's all about, hey, this is what didn't get me fired. What I want is a BCT commander to stand in front of a bunch of lieutenants and say, hey, here's my expectations of you. This is how you succeed in my formation, right? Because they need to hear that, right? They can hear it from a Brett Reister all day. They can hear it from a Chris Eubank all day, but nothing's more powerful than that infantry BCT commander, battalion commander standing in front of one of my bullet classes going, hey, who wants to come to the 82nd? And when 42 hands go up out of 42 people, and then he goes, okay, here's the expectations, and 42 hands become 22 hands, and 22 hands become 12 hands, it's eye-opening, right? It really is. But only they can relate that message. So I'll take anything you got, to be honest. I got 2 notes from captains downrange as SFAB guys. If I'd have printed them, it probably would have been a 10-page email. Those 2 kids blew us up. And you know what? It was phenomenal. It's one of the best sets of lessons learned I've read in a long time. And now we're trying to figure out, with their permission, how we kind of smooth it out and put it in the Army communicator so people can read it. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, Ron, what you got?
Sir, to answer this gentleman's question, is what you can do for us, we need technical people in the officer corps, artillery 26, and we need good, young, strong NCOs, technically proficient, become warlocks.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ron.
We're short in all of those areas.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Ron. Yes.
Sergeant
Sit.
From you, sir, G6, one question I would like to ask you. I asked this question before the previous commandant when I was in the 26th Bravo Forum, is the fact that staff would like that when we train for young captains, majors, 26 Bravo, they face situations in life that they have to leave the Army for whatever reason. They know for a fact they're going to make more money outside than here. So what are we doing to retain that force? Especially now that we went cyber. Those cyber guys, when we get to 17, they will find better jobs outside.
Can I answer the cyber piece first? Oddly enough, as Chief of Signal, I want to answer the cyber piece first. So here's what I would tell you. My last job, I was the AFCOM J6 and the DJ3 for cyber. And you know I used to tell young cyber kids to keep them in the service? Hey, you're only allowed to do what you're doing one place, right? That's your business tagline for cyber guys. Hey, you can leave the force, but you're not going to be allowed to do what you're doing today for me as the AFCOM DJ3 for cyber in the outside world. You can, but you're probably going to jail, right? So that's what I would tell you from a cyber perspective. Look, I'm not going to try and compete with today's economy, right? I mean, what I will tell you is, serving the country is where it's at. I cannot compete. I just can't. I mean, the recruiting commander, Major General Muth, briefed at the TRADOC Commanders Forum. It's rough right now. I mean, economy's booming. It's the best it's been since 1960, did he say? 69? So I tug on their heartstrings, to be honest. When I talk to young kids, I tell them, hey, you know what? Were you here for General Martin's speech yesterday? That was phenomenal, right? We have a dental plan, right? We're going to let you see the world, right? I can't compete with them, so we try and keep their interest up. And I'm looking at Matt Hicks. He's a 26. I mean, he might have a better answer.
So sir, what we're seeing a lot of is our losses aren't necessarily projected out. Like we're not losing them after Course Bravo. They go to the course and they get all these great skills that they use. As we've been giving them more and more certifications, now they get CISSP and they're now they CCNA. We're not seeing the more we give them, they're not leaving soon. That has no effect.
When are they leaving, Matt?
And so we're really not getting that they're not coming to us. That they're leaving before we even can get them into the 26 Bravo course. Because what they're seeing is they get a sour taste in their mouth from Signal because they want to be super technical. Maybe this wasn't what they were expecting us. And then we don't have this, especially what we're really seeing is we're cannibalizing a lot of the Signal Corps officers. What we're not doing is a lot of recruiting inside of the combat arms or all those other places where it'd be best, if we're not taking all of our best people, even technically, and dragging them over to 26, we could be getting that computer science major crack, something like infantry, and maybe get them ahead of time before they get out. Because I'm almost looking for, when I go to recruit, we go down to Benny, and we go down to recruit, we're looking for, hey, we know you don't like what you're doing now, but whatever you want to do, you can do it in the Army. And you continue to roll over that lifetime of selfless service to the nation, and keep that going.
And that's why we've opened up that window to senior first lieutenants now, right? Yeah. So because we've missed a bunch because we didn't get them, and so they popped smoke. So we're trying to play catch up now. I don't, that's not a real good answer, but
I guess my question was leading towards the medical field and also the aviation field is doing something similar, something that can keep their performance. And of course, I mean, doctors say yes.
propay.
Exactly. Is any plan to go towards that?
No, so there's not right now, but I'll have the team take a note. I would tell you, this is, oddly enough, this is a discussion I had in 1998 with, I was a Aviation Brigade 6, and the 3 was a pilot, and I did as much as I could do until I got almost fired, and we were having a conversation because he wanted me to come to his office and fix his mouse, and I politely was like, sir, I don't get pro pay like you do, and that set off a whole nother conversation. But it's a discussion that's been had off and on across your specialty MOSs inside the Army for a long time. I would tell you, I don't think you're going to get pro pay as a signal officer. You're probably not going to get it as a 26. I don't know that we're going to give incentives to move to 26 at this point. Like I said, we try to get to them early because a lot of them want to be in the Army. They're just not satisfied what they're doing. So we try to get to them early and have that conversation. We're battling a booming economy right now, though, which is not helping us. Good for the economy. It's good for all of us as taxpayers, but it's not helping us recruiting-wise. So, yeah.
One of the things I noticed with my troops that I had a couple warrant CWCs at 1 or 17. There was Army Reserve soldiers. They have civilian jobs that they're happy with. They're really not looking forward to a year coming up before now they work is bad. But they're from Philadelphia, New York City.
And they get paid more in Philly.
And oh, by the way,
Where is Rosenai? He's not in here. Are you a Rosenai plant? Do you know Joan Rosenai? Okay, so John. So let me real quick. So John Rosenai, Dave Eaton, and I meet every week. So I sit with Compo 2 and 3 every week. The biggest conversation we're having right now is not just warrants; it's 26s, right? How do we get them here and not in a PCS status, but more a TDY status? And it is an ongoing discussion.
so that they come in instead of, because from our perspective, sitting at your little
So we owe you some research on that. John has been beating me up for 6 weeks. I mean, so he's doing good by you guys. He keeps his thumb on me in regards to that stuff. So, we owe you a good hard look at that, because you're right. It's hard to compete with that, especially in a booming economy. Yeah, Oz.
Sorry, I want to pull the string on one of the comments you said earlier today. What are we doing, in terms of what you can do for us, what are we doing at the basic course and advanced course to message to these officers that being an S6 is not a bad thing? And I say that in context only
They get to see me.
Well, sorry, and I say that in context, so I had an opportunity to talk to the 442 course at Ali 3 times, and all 3 times I always ask, hey, who wants to be an S6 and who wants to be an ESB S3XO? And numerically, it's always 99% of the folks want to be S3XO and nobody wants to be.
So here's what I'll tell you. We're flipping that, right? So we're putting more rigor in our brigade and battalion S6 courses. We're actually going to start teaching that at CGSC. So along with the courses we're still going to do here at Gordon. So statistically, oddly enough, they all want to be S3XOs. About 75% of the folks coming out of CGSC are going to S6 jobs. So whether they want to be a 3 or XO or not, that's not reality, right? I would tell you, every group I talk to, I tell them the best jobs I've had in the Army were as a battalion 6, a brigade 6, a 1-star 6, a 2-star 6, a 3-star 6, and a 4-star 6. Minus being the ASG Kuwait commander, and I know that sounds strange, but that was a phenomenal job. Anybody wants to talk about that afterwards, let me know. That was an absolute phenomenal job. What we're trying to do is, so just across, as your your chief of signal proponency, we're trying to level set the thinking more than anything, right? So for a long time, it's the haves and have-nots. The only people getting promoted were S3s and XOs. I would tell you, interestingly enough, it's either even or the 6 communities winning at this point. And oddly enough, we're having a real good luck on the soft side of the house, right? So for a long time there, you got, especially the dark side, you got stuck over there and people forgot about you. We've been successful making sure people know who you are. So we're having good success there. It's actually turned. Every crowd I talk to, I'm like, you can do either or. The best of both worlds is to figure out how you do both, right? How you go be a BCT 6 and then, I don't know, kind of like Brett and I did, walk your way into an S3 job in a battalion. But we're level setting, and I would tell you the trend right now is more G6s are seeing, CSLs, they're seeing promotion. I'm looking at another one back there. What's up, Jeff?
I just want to add something real quick. So, your question is about.
Yeah.
So, as a brigade commander on the 516, something I did to assist all the 6s down at 25th ID who were getting burned out was we came up with a program where we pulled those 6s out after 18 months, go up to the brigade, got them in the AS3 positions, gave them another, better picture.
Yep. That's great. So the other thing I'm telling young officers is manage your career, right? So if you're a major sitting in CGSC, you're graduating a year from now, when you get to the 101st and they say you're going to be 1st Brigade's S6, you should walk in there, you should get your feet in the door, and about 90 days in the job, you should go see somebody who owns an S3XO job. Say, hey, I just want to put my name in the hat. I want to be the HHBN XOS3. Don't forget about me, right? Go see a BEB commander, right? And so the other thing we're doing with BEB commanders is this November will be the first time that BEB commanders come out of Leonard Wood, PCC, and come to Fort Gordon and spend 3 days with us learning what signal companies do, right? So they're going to come here and learn how to care and feed for that formation inside their formation, right? So it's a pilot that Trish Sales has been working hard on, and it looks like we'll do our first one in November. So first here, and then we'll go back here. Yeah, and then over here. Yes.
Yes, sir. I've been trying to get to the signal follow-up for one outside since December. Just received my most recent feedback on Monday. I didn't know if this is super secret code. I can put HRs or...
We got a guy taking notes right here. I don't know. If you figure out that super secret code, tell me what it is. All right? We got somebody taking notes right here. Yeah. Yes.
Sir, Captain Littlejohn, 324th ESB.
Sit.
Quick question about, so transition from the active side into the reserve side now as an ATR. I'm seeing a huge gap in training and knowledge skill sets. So I've been over with Sergeant Braswell, just kind of working with some thought processes. Has there ever been any thought into when you have a reservist slide for BLC, ALC, SLC, extending that course schedule for them, or from a baseline common core to go back and retouch signal equipment?
Yeah, so, that's a great question, and I don't want to step on Command Sergeant Major or Sergeant Major Braswell's toes. I mean, he owns that, right? He is a commandant just like me, and I make sure he knows that, right? I mean, it's easy for me to say, hey, you're just a Sergeant Major. I treat him as an equal. He answers directly to General Morrison, right? But I do have conversations with him pretty regularly. So I'll go back to him. I would tell you, so things you just mentioned, though, extending, all require money, require changes to curriculum, and takes about 3 years, right? So it's not that it's impossible, but just something to think about as we talk about, changing something inside the education process. So, but I'll go back to, I just sat with him a couple weeks ago, but I'll go back to him.
And I'd say the same on the officer side, sir. So going over to talk with the reserve career managers or career boards, just again, the same note is when I see my officers coming in, as well as the enlisted coming in, the opportunities to touch equipment are going to be based off of the effectiveness of whatever chain of command you have.
Yeah.
But we're going to go out and do total force concept every day. The expected, when we go down range right now with 98 sitting out the door, to do the exact same job as 307 or 304.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got to close the gap on that. You're absolutely right. There was another hand over here. Yeah. Major Hicks. Okay.
So I say that because, so for the officers and senior enlisted that are here, this is one of the things I also try to share with them. Put your soldiers and your junior officers in their operational environment. You've got to go to that commander. You've got to go to that 3. You got to go to that XO and give them a training plan on why you need to get your post squared away. Because, being at Force we have the MCAP team, maybe you're aware of that. And the reason why a lot of the 6s are failing is because they are not prepared. Because they were so busy doing what I call beans and bullets stuff, they've not been able to focus on any signal realistic training. And so
This is Compo 2 and 3?
yes, sir.
Okay.
And so
So,
And so what I ask is for, to look at, if I can call it cross-pollination.
yeah.
Where it doesn't matter whether you're couple 1, 2, or 3. If you're a senior signal leader and you can mentor someone and they're in your state, in your own backyard, do it.
Yeah. So, so I'm gonna answer that real quick, and then I got real quick closing comments because I gotta run to another engagement. So, I got it. We hear it. What we got to do is make sure what we're doing on the Compo 1 side is filtering down to 2 and 3. So, the signal strategy we publish gets after exactly that. It's for the signal corps, but it's really for those folks who own signal formations that have no clue what they do, right? So we're doing that. It's published. We'll take any feedback. If you don't have a copy, please tell us. We will get you a copy. It's approved, signed, and will go into revision in December to be re-released in January. We're going to do it every 6 months, right? So if you've got feedback for the signal training strategy and you don't see it in that document, if you miss a window, we're doing it every 6 months. But that lays out digital master gunnery tables. It lays out how you take care of a signal formation, what they should be doing in the maintenance world, all that stuff. The other thing we're doing is, like I said, I don't know if you heard it, first iteration in November, we're bringing in BEB commanders on the active side, right? Compo 1 to Gordon, 3 days to learn about that signal formation inside their battalion. Is that going to be...
Right now it is to do a proof of concept. Once we finish the proof of concept and actually get resourced because we're taking this
Yeah.
high.
But yes. And
Then Postcom is actually going to be part of it where they're going to open it up to everybody else who are non-senior.
so I don't mean to cut you off. I do have to run. So see me on the floor. Catch me. I tell you, I'm your 39th Chief of Signal. If we're not doing something and you think we should be doing it, if you let me leave 2 years from now and we didn't at least attempt, shame on you, right? I get paid to work for you. So I tell everybody I see, if I'm one thing, I'm passionate and excited. So I work for you. Make me work for you. And that's Compos 1, 2, and 3. Make us improve what we're doing. All right? And I thank you for taking your time to come sit with me. Appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, that would be bad. I don't know how to turn it off. Is there?